I'll wait for it to pop up here.
On Facebook.
That's what I was saying here. We should have it pop
I
up
know.
on this.
The TV's blown. It's a brand new TV.
Hook an HDMI from the computer so we can have the Facebook stream up there.
That's what we was going to do, and brand new TV.
Okay, welcome to Veterans Matter live stream broadcast. This is our very first show, so there will be some kinks to work out. As soon as our backbone radio service gets up and running, we're waiting for the host to get back to me. Right now, you'll be getting a busy signal if you call in, but if you're listening, I want all our listeners to know that the phone call into the studio is 609-798-4475. And one other thing we'll wait on is for ASCAP to approve our license, so we'll be able to play some music on the show. So as of right now, if I were to play any music between YouTube and Facebook, they would shut the show down immediately, so you won't hear any of your favorite tunes. All right, now I want to welcome to my studio two very good friends of mine, people who have been a part of Veterans Matter radio show for quite some time. The Veterans Administration Outreach Specialist for Atlantic and Cumberland County, Pat Carney, welcome to Veterans Matter, and also Jackie Hinker, the outreach specialist for the VA out of Cape May County. So welcome, guys, to Veterans Matter broadcast.
Hey, how are you? I think we need to clarify though. I think we're everywhere.
All right.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to do with the show, a little different than the way things were done in the past, is we're just going to do this like we're sitting around a table at home and having a discussion.
I agree.
And hopefully, when we really get into things and everything's up and running properly, we hope that between this show and you guys doing your own VA show, that you'll be able to help people not only here in New Jersey, but this show has the ability to reach coast to coast.
Sure.
And that's what we want to do. Veterans Matter formed many years ago with the help of Commander Bill Butler from Post 352 of the American Legion. And, of course, Al Zentmeyer has been our producer from the very beginning, and he's standing here next to me with one of our technicians, Jerry Fournier, and I want to thank all of them, including John Servin, for helping putting all this together to make it work. I never realized what went in to making a successful broadcast, but hopefully this is the first of very many. So, guys, let me ask you a question. I was on the phone yesterday with Pat about an individual who happens to be still active duty Army, and there isn't a whole lot, Pat. So if the family is listening, and without mentioning names personally, there isn't much the VA will do as long as it's still active duty, correct?
It's not so much will do. I think it's more of a matter of can't do, because when a service member signs that contract for X amount of years, they're basically signing over their rights, so to speak, to the United States government. So that soldier, that sailor, Marine, whomever, has to fulfill that obligation, and all that, and whatever they do, whether good or bad, indifferent, during that time, they belong to the Army, the Navy, whatever branch of service they're in. The VA is well, our big push has been to grab those soldiers, sailors, just before they're getting out of the military. That way their transition is smooth into the VA and the VA services. But the VA does deal, I mean, they deal strictly with the veteran, the people after service. There are certain cases, like with VHA healthcare or VA healthcare, where if a service member is on leave or something and needs health care and can't find someone in the area, that active duty service member could come to a VA facility and get medical care. But as far as anything besides that, there's not a ton that the VA does for those that are active duty.
Well, and the other thing too is, like Pat touched on, making sure the transition is a smooth transition is a wonderful thing. And up until this point, there's been yellow ribbons and there's been briefings and things like that where the soldier that's getting out is told about things. We like to say talked at instead of talked to, because they have military contractors or VA contractors that come in and tell them all the different things that are available to them. Unfortunately, you're grabbing them at a time where they really don't want to take the time to listen and really absorb what's being told to them, because they're more looking forward to life outside or getting home to their family, or the different things that they want to do in civilian life now that they're getting out. So looking toward the future further down the road sometimes is not the priority at that point in time. So the other thing Patrick and I have recently done, our team, is to start to implement with the actual soldier, not necessarily even a veteran. Those who haven't even done a tour, they're just now getting ready to go. So if we can start to educate those that are being built into the soldier about what it's like in the future, our soldiers of today are our veterans of tomorrow. So it's a lot better to get to them, educate them, so when it gets down to that last briefing when they're getting out, they're familiarized with what services are available, what they're going to be eligible for, what they're going to be entitled to, making that last paperwork a little smoother. Also knowing when to, go see a doctor, when something happens. The documentation piece of everything is so important. Veterans find out later, especially we're going to use the Vietnam veterans, they've been out for a long time at this point. And, now is the time where some of them are just starting to get involved in VA and healthcare and service-connected injuries and filing claims. And the unfortunate thing is a lot of time has passed. Documents may have disappeared, and you've heard different horror stories about maybe a fire or loss of documentation, and that's bad. So what we're trying to do is get to those soldiers to say, hey, stop for a minute. If something happens, you need to document this and you need to see somebody. And when you get out, you need to have that documentation, because it's just going to make that transition even smoother if you are going to file a claim for a service connection. Trying to really, it's all about education. It's really about educating the soldier so that they know. But every bit as important is the family. We really need to get to the families. We need to get to those that support those soldiers. And sometimes that's a little difficult too. I mean, they are invited to those briefings at the end, like the TAP briefings, but it's very rare that you see family members coming into that. I guess they renamed it.
Future Soldier Program, or it was ACAP, Army Community Assistance Program, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
I think every branch calls it something different.
Right. So I think it's very important that, while the family members are allowed to come in and be a part of that, they don't necessarily do it. So the one thing I think that Patrick and I, why we make such a good team, is because we are who we are. What you see is what you get. We're not putting on a facade and being somebody because of the job that we hold. We were put into these places because of who we are and because of how we advocate, and because we want people to understand. We don't want a veteran to have to hang on the phone for a while. And, if those kind of things happen, we want to know about it. Everything should be smooth and seamless. And we don't want anybody frustrated. We never want anybody to leave VA care without anything other than a smile on their face and having everything done that they needed done. And there's a way to get to that. Unfortunately, things have happened and people talk, and it just recently happened to Patrick and I at a briefing where when we discussed VA healthcare, and you ask for a show of hands, how many of you are utilizing VA healthcare, and hands go up, and then under their breath, there was a negative comment. Now, I'm going to say that this was not about the Wilmington VA Medical Center, so I do have to preface that. But it was a story where the veteran was unhappy, and actually he was still active duty, so he was prior deployed, which made him eligible. But he had a bad story, and he came up and he told us about it. But as soon as he said what he said, we made it a point to explain. And I love this phrase: if you've been to one VA, you've been to one VA. Not all VAs are exactly the same. They don't have the same leadership. They're not all following the same standard. Yes, the policies may be the same, but it's a little different everywhere you go. So having heard that, he did come and speak with us about his time, that what had happened, and we were able to help him with that and rectify the situation so that when he goes back into, which he will go back into VA and give it another shot, his whole time spent there should be a lot different. I think he'll see a better result this time, and that's the important stuff. Word of mouth is our biggest advertisement for VA. If you're happy with your care, please shout it at the top of your lungs. If you're unhappy with your care, then we need to know about it so we can see what the problem is and get to the bottom of it. We work for Wilmington. That's what we do. We work for the Wilmington VA Medical Center, the Cape May County, Atlantic County, Cumberland County CBOCs. We support Mark Taylor over in Delaware with all the stuff that he has going on, our other outreach partner, and we do work for Wilmington. But that's not to say if you're from Peoria, Illinois, and you come upon us and you have a problem, we are not going to say, sorry, we work for the Wilmington VA. We're going to do whatever we can to help you. So that's important to note as well.
It's been, I don't know how many times I've had even buddies I served with, and granted they're friends of mine, but having trouble with their VA or not being enrolled, and get online, help them fill out an enrollment form, and make sure they're set up.
You get calls from Alaska, really,
exactly.
And it's a point. We're here to help.
Yeah. And even if it's not the case, I mean, there's plenty of people who have gotten our numbers from all across the United States that call us and ask us our advice, or ask us, what do you think the best course of action would be?
Yeah, who do I call? What department do I call? That's easy. Anybody can call us for that. We're going to know what department you need to call at your facility, and help you streamline that situation.
Just so people know, right now we are just getting this program up and running. I'm going to give the phone number for the studio, but as of this moment, we're still, if you call, you're just going to get a busy signal. The phone number is 609-798-4475. That's right into Veterans Matter radio show. And like I said, at this time we're still getting some bugs out of the system. And right now the call-in is under construction, we'll say, until our...
Should have brought some high schoolers in here to square away our Facebook, huh?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating because, every step of the way you're getting this studio outfitted, getting the little bugs out, and all it takes is a little storm, and not having something plugged into a surge protector. We roasted a second TV so far.
You roasted it?
Yeah.
So what were you doing? Talking about how its color was off a little bit, and the tube. There's no tubes in these TVs anymore.
Can't even get it to turn on now.
There's no tubes.
Very
I'm
frustrating.
old.
But anyway, one of the things I did get a text here, and you guys were mentioning about that the VA is changing, but one of the things that has not changed is the 22 veterans a day that are committing suicide.
Well, everyone challenges that number first and foremost. Everyone challenges that number, the 22 or the 20 or whatever they say it is, because they say that number wasn't exactly accurately surveyed. I know there are some that believe that that number is even higher than that. I don't think there's enough reporting on the exact amount of veterans who take their own lives every day. Don't get me wrong; it's an absolute tragedy.
Right. If it's 5 a day.
If it's 5 a day, it's too
If
many.
it's
But
one
thing,
One a day,
one of the
it's too
things,
many.
Not enough.
when
I
this
mean, that's
first
ridiculous.
broke, and I'm going back maybe 3-4 years, the 22 a day, I did research. And what I found out was that 22 a day had been static since the beginning of the war in Vietnam. It wasn't something post 9/11. Our Vietnam veterans have also tragically been affected by, well, I'm trying to remember whether, I think Bob Frollo, our commander at Post 352, said it best when he says, we are the best in the world at equipping our men and women to go to war, but we are horrible at bringing them home.
That's what we're
exactly
trying
our
to
goal.
do.
I know, and I understand that. That's why
We're
I'm
trying to
so
create
proud and pleased to be able to bring this to our men and women coming home, and that you guys are in the forefront. Thankfully, we had a congressman that this was a priority for, and we have a veterans liaison out of that office that it was a priority for.
And we have a VA secretary and a president who are also that's a priority. Suicide prevention is a priority. I mean, the fact that now there's legislation that for 12 months after separation, that
regardless of
regardless,
your discharge status,
you
other
get
than honorable, dishonorable, whatever.
right. We're here for mental health and behavioral health. I mean, that's huge. Where everyone's taking a look at this, and the fact that we're having this opportunity to implement now with soldiers before they're veterans is we can talk about this stuff. We can talk about suicide prevention, hopefully before it becomes a thought in their head. If they know where to go, what lane to go in, who to talk to, how to do it. Maybe this is a way that suicide prevention can really be implemented before it even is a forethought. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's we use the word suicide prevention, but I think, well, I know for you and I, Jackie, and I think it needs to be across the board. We need to not get to the point where we need suicide prevention.
Absolutely.
We need to get to the point where we're talking, money prevention or going broke prevention
Yeah, that's
when I
a
get
good
out
one.
of the military, or not having healthcare prevention for myself and my family when I get out of the military. I think those prevention steps will watch that suicide prevention or the suicide rates drop.
Agreed.
Because when your family's taken care of, when you're taken care of, and you have money to do stuff, most of your stressors or anything else external that stresses you is going to dwindle as well.
Sure.
Let me say something here for you guys. So, I'm a lay person, all right, and I want to set the tone right here for my first show, Veterans Live Stream Broadcast. I have never served in our military. I'm just fine being a veterans advocate, doing work, and helping our military, helping our veterans, and getting the word out. Guys, we're getting people from all over the
Yeah,
country
we're inundated.
checking in,
Yeah.
Yeah, I see
and
that. I see you, Logan.
coast to coast
What's up,
from
Bubba?
Florida, all over the place. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, especially Patrick, you served. You were an Iraq war veteran.
Yes, twice. I think that counts.
When our
Twice removed.
Yeah,
when
twice.
our special force go out on a mission, when they come back from that mission, before they are allowed to go back again, they have to go through all kinds of counseling and stuff. Why do they, if that's so important for our special forces,
Well,
what do they do with the grunt, the guy
it's-
on the front line that's doing this every day?
Okay. I think the reason it seems a little more often with special forces, call ranger regiments, etc., is they typically do a 6-month tour. So they're there for 6 months. They do whatever they need to do, or if they even they go on some sort of special mission that's only a week or two or a few weeks long. They come back and they have I forget the acronym for it. If anyone on here is still in, let me give me a hand here for the acronym, but it's like a down briefing or a medical reevaluation. You have a pre-deployment, there we go, pre-deployment health assessment and a post-deployment health assessment. And that's what those special forces guy, and they get it often because every time they leave, they come back. I would think they'd get this post-deployment health assessment. Now, when you talk about regular grunts, or you talk about the infantrymen, you talk about anyone else that's serving who does that 12-month to a 15-month deployment. Well, they have a pre-deployment health check before they leave, and then a year later, 15 months later, they get home and they have those checks. The problem with those checks, it was what I've tell numerous people, especially this past weekend up at the National Guard, up at Seagirt, the service member needs to be honest when they get home. Regardless of all the consequences, they need to be honest when they get home, because that is what's going to benefit them in the future. Instead of just going in there and saying, man, I really don't feel like being here. I want to go home with my wife and kids. I want to do this. I want to do that. I don't want to talk to these doctors. Yes, doc, I'm fine. I'm fine. No big deal. I'm fine. Drink water, face out, pull security. Gotcha. Roger. They need to be honest, because those post-deployment health assessments only happen. How many times do they deploy? I mean, on average, service members nowadays are deploying 3-4 times. So 4 times they've been asked, are you okay after your deployment? And for 4 times they've said, no, I'm fine. But then all of a sudden, 6 months later, something happens. You know what? I'm not fine. That hash up in your records makes things more difficult for you in the future when you're trying to do your VA stuff.
But then there's also that mindset, you're right, of if I say anything, they won't let me go. You know what I mean? The want to deploy, the want, and we saw that, and I just want to thank Dr. Howell for allowing us to be part of the New Jersey National Guard medical detachment over the weekend, because having our team there were many members of the Army National Guard that this is now going to be a multiple deployment for them, a onesie, a twosie, a threesie. I mean, they're going. And what's good about our team is we're approachable. I think people see us more or less as a VA suit, and I don't mean any disrespect by that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They don't see us in that respect. They see us as 2 people, a soldier who did 2 tours, and the wife and the daughter of a soldier. We understand what it's like on the other side, being involved in the VA, getting, my husband gets his health care there, Pat gets his health care there, my dad got his health care there. They see us as people that are like-minded and want to have a conversation, a complete and total personal engagement, so that it's not, they're not afraid to come and talk. And interestingly enough, there were soldiers that had their combat, what are they called? The combat infantry patch, CIB, that would come up and literally say to him, pull him aside, Pat aside, and say, listen, this is my third. This is what's going on. Talk to me. And they could have that conversation, personal, soldier to soldier, veteran to veteran, which you're not necessarily going to get that one-on-one time, and this is a very unique experience. I mean, we are very blessed to be able to do what it is that we do, and to be able to assist veterans in the ways that we do. But I'm just glad that this whole aspect of it, just seeing what's going on Facebook right now, and the questions that are blowing up, and the people that are calling in to say, hey, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that? We want people to see us as people. That's what we are, people that want to help.
And let's make it clear to our veterans out there that want help. We will never, if you don't want your name broadcast, we never will do that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
If you have a question for Pat or for Jackie, we won't give your name out. Do you guys find a problem with the HIPAA?
Yes.
Laws and stuff, yeah.
Well, not a problem, but you just can't talk. Like, this is going to be an issue for this show, I think. This is going to be one of those things where you're going to have a call in, and somebody is going to want to tell you their entire health history.
Right.
Where
there's going to have to be some kind of, like, hey, so we're live on Facebook. We're going to have to talk about that. Like, let the whoever calls in know. Like,
well, is it wrong for them to institute their own? I mean,
I wouldn't say that it's wrong, but I don't think it's something that they really want to do. That should be left up to a personal kind of conversation. I mean, there's a way to, privately inbox, something like that, or, our phone numbers are going to be blasted. Just so you know, everybody that's listening and watching today, you will have our phone numbers. If there is something of a personal nature you want to discuss, then you can pick up the phone and call us.
Why don't you do that now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Get your phone numbers out there. And let's say somebody's in a different state.
Mm-hmm.
They can reach out to you. You
Sure.
guys know who to get.
Yes,
who they need to get.
we can guide. And, there's a post on here on Facebook right now I just want to address. I'm not saying any names of who it is, but I'm sure you'll know as soon as I say it. But it was talking about a double-edged sword. And sometimes veterans don't realize that they have a problem until it's brought to their attention by someone on the outside, family member, or, just that they're different from the person they used to be. And I totally understand that, because when you're in the thick of it and you're the veteran, you really don't, I don't think, necessarily see what's happening. This is why we're so driven to involve the caregivers and the family members. And it's such an important role, because they're the people that know you the best. They're the people that knew you, before you went into the military, or maybe not. Maybe they got you after the military. But either way, they can see the change.
They're going to be exactly. They're going to be the people that notice the change. Like for me, after I guess after my last shoulder surgery, my
HIPAA.
What's that?
HIPAA.
Well, okay. I can talk about my own personal stuff on here. I give whoever permission. Anyway, after that, my last shoulder surgery, my mom came down to Texas, where I was, and it was unfortunately just a day after April Kaufman was killed. And surgery's finished, everything like that. It's me vibrating.
Oh, sorry.
By the end of the time she was there, she was starting to say, "Why don't you remember things anymore? Why aren't you grasping this anymore? Like, this isn't making sense." And then she came down again that summer, and it was more and more. And my mom started realizing that I was having something going on with my brain, something I couldn't remember stuff. I was having a lot of difficulty. And my mom's been with me
all your life.
Well, yeah, all my life, yes. But she's also she's also been the one to always tell me how things are, tell me how it is, and give me the most honest opinion. And I've always appreciated that about her. And before I continue anymore, I need to apologize to her, because we weren't at the night at the corral.
Sorry, Joe.
Friday night, we ended up getting called up to Seagirt to go square away the National Guard units up there for their health care. So, Mom, I apologize for missing it. We will definitely be at the next event. Anyway, leading up to that, it's your family members that notice the difference. And when I finally got home is when I wasn't Staff Sergeant Carney anymore. I wasn't Sergeant Carney anymore. I was just Pat. And that's when I think the curtains come down that you put up when you're in the military, because you don't want anybody to see any of your weaknesses. You don't want anyone to see anything that's wrong with you. So you put up this facade that you're this big tough soldier, and that's how you're going to be. Once you're out, that facade kind of crumbles away, and you're left with what remains. And it's your family. It's those that are closest to you. And even if you don't have family, it's those that are closest to you, friends, whoever are your loved ones. They're going to say, "Hey, there's something going on with you. You need help." And it's that by implementing ourselves, or hopefully getting someone from the VA correctly implemented into every single active duty base in this country, to finally create. I mean, our main goal is to create a reverse basic training.
Pretty much.
That's and I'd love to coin it and own that word, because
reverse basic.
I think reverse basic training. I think it's the best thing that could possibly be done. Everything is taken care of you in the military. There's not much you have to do on your own to get something done in the military. It's, hey, sign this paperwork, S1 or whoever takes care of the rest for you. So having that reverse basic training, basically teaching you to stop being a soldier and how to be an adult, and how to live a life and how to take care of things, would be priceless. Priceless.
Right. And the same thing goes with families. You don't teach a family You know, they know that the soldier is becoming a soldier, but then all of a sudden they're about to get deployed, and the family's like, whoa, brakes on. What do you mean you're going to be gone for a year? Hold on. This is going to change everything.
You can't see me again.
Oh, really? You got that on there?
Yeah.
Anyway, you know, there's a whole different thing. You're talking about families, and you're talking about children, and then there's, you know, kids at home that are going, wait, why is mom going away for a year? Or why is dad going away for a year? The beauty of this whole reverse training, or being able to support, we've got the opportunity to now to support the soldiers, meet them, stay with them, follow them through, stay with their families. The vet center, who we partner with, who we absolutely love, while soldiers are deployed, they can see the family members, the moms, the dads, the best friend, all of the above. Whoever's having an adjustment period, or sad, or feeling depressed, or any of that stuff with having a service member not there in the home or in the lifestyle with them, they can absolutely get therapy through the vet center. This is a huge thing. This is not something that anybody ever knew about or knew that they were capable of having this. So now we're helping the soldiers find a support base for their support team. Now, you build a relationship like this with people that know that you're going to be there from start to finish. I think that they're going to be more inclined when the day comes that they're getting out to say, you know what? Oh, I can't forget to sign up for my VA health care. Hey, I got a question. Let me call Pat or Jackie and find out if this is okay, or if I'm filling out this paper the right way. Not only can we talk to them on the phone, we can link up with them on the computer and talk to them face to face. We're building a whole foundation for the soldier to become the veteran. It's amazing. We are in a very wonderful position right now to be able to assist so many.
You know, Pat, one other thing that you're involved in, and you have been for a number of years because of personal experience, is through the projects like with the Warfighter Sports and with the American Warfighters Foundation, and getting our veterans involved in an interactive sport. And just tell our listeners a little bit of how the sport of golf had helped you make that transition.
Okay. Because I'm wearing my VA hat right now, I can't mix work and play. But I can tell you, just having something that's your hobby, something, or it could be multiple things. I know for me, I need at least like 5 things going on at one time for me to be happy, or for me to just kind of operate. I need to, I'm into
woodworking.
Golf, I'm into woodworking. I'm into
golf.
Messing around with the parachute cord for dog leashes and stuff. Working on the house.
Playing with kids.
And that's all. Yeah, and that's all. Besides all the stuff I do as a family man, just something to keep my mind going and keeping it. I don't know, off of. My old analogy was,
Squirrel.
Squirrel. Something that just keeps the demons at bay, like that with golf. That little white ball can be so beneficial, and can be so frustrating for anyone that golfs knows. That you don't even have time to think about all the stuff you went through. So you get that 4 hours, you get that 18 holes of golf. It's a break from all the things that run through your head every single day, and it's all over. It's all the time. So just having something to do besides going to the VA, going to work every day, spending time with your wife and your kids, and that's a good thing, spending time with the family, and all those are good things, but there are also things that do add stressors. Something that you can have that's not a stressor, it's only a positive, is monumental in any veteran's success after their service.
And even though we're not you kind of are, psychologists or social workers or anything of that nature, we're able to speak on the side of, he knows it because he sits there. I know it because I live there. There has to be a place where veterans can go just so that they can be. If not, then that mind will keep going and keep going. And I'm sure after Pat goes and plays a round of golf on a bad day, his wife Melissa is probably really happy when he comes home because, he's got a big smile on his face and he's relaxed and ready to go.
Absolutely.
One of the things, because I've been involved for a number of years, first with Rolling Thunder and then with the American Legion Riders, is how going on a motorcycle ride can have that same type of effect.
Exactly.
And I think that's why so many Vietnam veterans have gravitated to the motorcycle world. I mean, it's really a great opportunity to just, when I'm on my motorcycle, I can't think of anything else.
King of the world,
it's
right?
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Just, it's like a spiritual help.
Mm-hmm.
Pat, we've been able to help a number of veterans through the activity of an interactive sport, golf here locally. And I just want, if you're a veteran and you'd like to get involved, or you'd like to come on this show and talk about your service or talk about problems that you had, or you think you can help your fellow vet, drop me a line at veteransmatter@aol.com, and I'd be glad to get you on the show. We'll talk about your service, and if you have problems, whether it's with the VA or in some other area of your service, we'll get you the help you need. At least get you in touch with the right people. One of the things I've been very proud of since we started this show was not giving up on people, being able to get people at least to the right place, and for the most part, it's been pretty successful. Heck, I would have never met you guys if it hadn't been through Veterans Matter Radio Show. I mean, first your mom, Pat. I've worked with Joe for many projects before I even met you. And Jack, before she got involved with the VA, was involved with caregivers.
Yeah, caregivers and South Jersey veterans, community, everything, everything. The My VA community from its onset was one of the first things. There was a lot of news to give you then. That was years ago.
And it's just great to know that there are people out there that doesn't just fall on me getting a phone call and trying to find information online. I mean, anybody can do that, but what you guys have given helping veterans a personal, I mean, people can call you and know that they have someone in their corner, not just a number.
Right. Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And
I think it's important, though, because we talked about it earlier, to put our numbers out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, Pat, you basically deal with Atlantic and Cumberland counties, correct?
All of
Well,
the
yeah.
above.
At this point, Jackie and I just kind of cover all of South Jersey.
Wow.
We've helped the vets. I mean, not that. I mean, our job descriptions say I cover Atlantic County and Cumberland County. Jackie covers Cape May and Atlantic. We kind of overlap in Atlantic County. But really, I mean, we've helped people out in Gloucester. We've helped people out in Camden, Salem, Ocean
New York.
County, New York City, places in Iowa. So
Ohio.
we really have spread our wings with outreach, and any veteran calls us and needs help, we're helping them, regardless of where they're living.
Let me ask you a question. What is the difference between, and I know what it is, but I want our listeners to know, what is the difference between the vet center and the clinic?
No.
What is
That's
the...
easy.
Okay, that's really easy, actually. I guess we'll start with the big picture, actually. The VA, a lot of people don't know, the VA is broken down into three branches. There's the Veterans Healthcare Administration, which is your doctors, your lab work, all your physical ailments and behavioral health ailments. Then there is the VBA, Veterans Benefit Administration. They're the people you talk to about your claims and your percentages, and you go for your C&P exams. And even if
That would be
you
compensation and pension.
Oh, yeah, compensation and
CNP.
pension exams, yes. Even if you go to a VA medical center for your C&P exam, you're dealing with the Veterans Benefit Administration. Those doctors you're seeing for those C&P exam work for the VBA, Benefits Administration, not for the Healthcare Administration. That's an important thing because I know a lot of vets see those CMP doctors and say, "Oh yeah, I've seen a VA doctor." Not necessarily the case. You've seen a VBA doctor, not a VHA doctor. They're going to be your primary care doctor that you always see. And then there's the cemetery services, which help you after you pass. The vet center also falls in there as well as falls under the VA umbrella, but it is a subsidiary. Yeah, a subsidiary. Yeah, a subsidiary of the VHA healthcare. And the benefits side, because they help with that too. But
it's all on the behavioral
it's
health
all
side.
Yeah, it's all the behavioral health side. It's all counseling, social workers and counseling, and it's all privatized. Well, not privatized as in that someone else is paying them. They're still federal employees, government employees, but it's that information. Whatever you tell those people stays at the vet center unless you say otherwise. I realize HIPAA and everything like that we talked about earlier. That's supposed to happen everywhere. But with the vet center, it's especially the case because you have, if there's police officers or whoever, people that are worried, even though it really makes no difference, people that are worried about losing their guns or losing whatever.
If they're in law enforcement.
Everything, yeah, in the vet center, it stays in the vet center.
All right, let me ask you a question specifically about the vet center. Years ago, it was only for combat vets, and now all veterans can participate.
It still is kind of technically for combat veterans, but they have relinquished that a little bit, especially with behavioral health because of the different issues and suicide. They have opened it and stretched it a little bit more, so they are more capable of taking people in. In fact, it's one of those things, again, with Vet Center, which is, I think, one of the most unique pieces and the best piece of the Vet Center is they are not just caring for the veteran. They're also caring for the family. And that's one thing that at the clinic, at our community-based outpatient clinics, they're for the veteran, solely for the veteran.
Yeah.
Now, that's not to say
Right.
There's not couples therapy. There's not to say that. There's not to say for caregivers. There aren't benefits with the caregiver program where they can also, the caregiver can seek additional therapy through VA. But those are limited resources. And that puts the Vet Center, I think, is without question, and I think Pat will agree with me, one of the best things that we've got going for us is to have that that arm of the Vet Center always with us. Dave Mullen is the outreach coordinator for the Ventnor Vet Center.
Kristen Brown's
Kristen
the
Brown.
director over there.
Right, and they have great therapists, and they are introducing unique types of alternative therapies,
Right.
like Reiki and breath therapy, and just these really cool things that are alternatives that. And VA is doing it too, acupuncture and different therapies and stuff like that. But this is something that families can take advantage of, and I can't even tell you how that must, especially for somebody like we had a veteran that came and spoke with us one time, and he said, "I'm worried about my wife. I'm going to deploy again, and I'm really worried. The first time wasn't so good," and he got all the information so that he's fully aware of how to get that support for his support, because he can't be over there worried about what's going on back at home. And she can't sit day in and day out and be worried and then shut herself off from life. We can't have that either. That's going to create a whole other element that we don't want to see. So that Vet Center piece, without question, is a wonderful service that we can help utilize.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
Well, Pat,
just a great place to go, especially Ventnor. I know Philadelphia is another great spot.
It's a bunch.
Yeah, I know one of the counselors up there is watching right now. Hi, Ed.
Oh, hi, Ed.
And it's the Vet Center is just such a great resource, and it's separate from your normal everyday VA occurrence.
So a veteran needs to contact the Vet Center. The phone number is 609-487-8387.
Yes, sir.
Now, I was over at my son's house last night, and there was a Vietnam veteran visiting and told me that they're pretty close to moving the Vet Center out of Ventnor. Is that?
Yes.
They'll be moving
Right down the street.
Yeah, over below Paul D'Amato's office, over the Prudential building. across from the new Walmart.
Oh,
The
because
big pink
I
building,
heard
the
it was
corner of
going to
Fire
be
Road and
where
Route 9.
the
Or Black Horse
DMV
Pike.
at the Shore Mall. So
No,
it's not,
no.
Oh, you
Okay.
better watch. I don't know where you're getting your information. You
I
need to
know.
Yeah,
call Pat
the,
and Jackie to get the
Well, I
right
didn't
information.
even know that it was moving, so I was glad to find out. So
Yeah.
right
Yeah, on
now
the
it's at
corner of-
6601 Ventnor Avenue, the old Ventnor
Mm-hmm.
Middle School, and like we said, 609-487-8387 will get you with the vet center.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if they're going to change their name. That's something we need to ask Kristen Brown. Are they going to become the Northfield Vet Center? Or are
Well,
they going to
that's
stay the Ventnor Vet Center in Northfield?
EHT,
The EHT, maybe.
maybe.
We'll keep you posted on that one.
You know, I would be remiss in this show if I wasn't to give a shout out to a good friend of mine, and someday he's going to be sitting here again with me, and that's Commander Bill Butler, and what he did in the very beginning, and for about 6 or 7 years, we did Veterans Matter radio show together, and I love the guy. I rode next to him for many, many years, and I hope that Bill will contact me, and once again, we'll be sitting here, and the old fun we used to have, bring it back to the people, and do something together again. Also, Mike Francis. I ride with Mike with the Legion Riders, and he's been so invaluable to getting the information to me to get to the people. And Mike, if you're listening, I thank you so much for all you've done to make this show successful, because it wouldn't be a success without the people who bring us the information to give to our listeners. Pat, what's going on right now with the VA? Is there any big changes that are happening that you
Oh,
would
boy.
like to get to our listeners?
Yeah, I guess changes in events. Biggest change, I guess, is choice program being kaput. As of September 30th, HealthNet is gone, which I think is a blessing, maybe. Well, I know it's a blessing in the fact that now we have Wilmington's pilot program, the community care program, which operates, I think, much better than how Choice did.
It's the Care in the Community program. So
Yes.
it's the CITC program is the acronym for it.
Yes,
CITC.
and that's the biggest change. That's taking where before with the choice program, your primary care doctor would say, okay, you need to see a orthopedic doctor, orthopedic surgeon. They'd say, okay, well, we can send you down to Wilmington, but they can't see you within 30 days, so we're going to send you in the community. We're going to put your referral in. Within 5 business days, HealthNet should call you and be able to schedule your appointment. So you get your call in 5 days. And then HealthNet tells you, okay, we know what days you're supposed to, we know what days you're open for your appointment, so give us 7 to 10 business days to call you back with an appointment. And then 7 or 10 business days. If they don't call you back, you're supposed to call them. Then they call you, and so it's like a 2-week turnaround just about to get one appointment to see an orthopedic surgeon. This whole time you could be in pain, you could be in, and it was great when it started because you didn't have to drive so far for your care. It was great. We took all of the things that were wrong with, or VA Wilmington, the CTIC program, or Care in the Community program, took all the things that were good about about Choice program and all the things that were bad, thought about it. So now, when you go see your primary care doctor, they tell you need to see an orthopedic surgeon. Okay, well, we can't see in Wilmington for however many days, for 30 days. We're going to get you your Care in the Community. That's when, right after your appointment, your primary care doctor puts in the referral, writes your referral to CITC, the CITC program, and you walk literally from your primary care doctor's office to the Care in the Community office. You sit down with one of the nurse navigators, and they get you an appointment that day.
Right.
If you qualify for it. If, the 30 days, same qualifications for care in the community. You get that appointment that day, and it's with a local provider, and you know your appointment before you leave that day.
And- Right. And to expand on exactly what Pat is saying is that the nurse navigators are also from this community. They're not a central call center that wants to send you to Rehoboth Beach to have a sleep study. And that's important to know. Although it would be 14 miles from KMA to Rehoboth, it's also over water, which geographically somebody at a call center in another state may not know, whereas our Mary Wisman, Cindy, and Jeannie Mahoney, who are our nurse navigators for Cumberland County, Atlantic County, and Cape May County, they also, they live there. They know exactly where to go. You say a doctor, they can look up that doctor. Heck, our veterans may be seeing specialty care doctors now on the outside. VA is paying for it, but they happen to be the doctor that they've been using outside insurance for. I mean, it is really a brilliant plan, and hopefully this is something that's going to spread like wildfire throughout the country. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, I think we have a couple phone calls, yeah?
Yeah, and it gives the veteran a choice. It gives the veteran a choice.
Yeah, if you, our phone lines are up and running now. Someone was on hold. I got to tell you, from experience, it's been a while. Veterans Matter.
I have something else new too, since you wanted to know about some new stuff there, Mike. So this is new too. So Wilmington VA has been expanding their long-term care options for our New Jersey veterans, and I'm sure you know about Meadowview right here in this area. Is that Linwood or is that Northfield?
What's that? The
Meadowview. Where does it actually
Northfield.
sit? In Northfield. Okay. So
Northfield / Pleasantville.
Okay.
It's right on Dolphin
so,
Avenue.
Having long-term care facilities is something that's very important. I mean, none of us are getting any younger. Wouldn't that be nice if we were all Benjamin Button? That we,
I don't know. I don't think so.
No, you don't want to go backwards?
No.
Okay.
Good.
Well,
I love my beard too much.
Oh, that's true. But I think that, it's one of those things where you got to prepare for the future. You got to think about some of these things. And when you get older, this is one of those things to look at. And it's nice to know that if, we have the beautiful Vineland Veterans Home. I mean, it is gorgeous, but, there is a wait list. So it's nice to know that there's other alternatives. The other thing to know is that there's some new stuff going on over in Salem County, too. They're expanding long-term options through the Wilmington VA Medical Center. Everything is being thought of, and everything is trying to be streamlined and make it so that it is a seamless transition to go from one thing to the other. Long-term care, too. Let's try and make that as seamless as possible for our older veterans. Having said that, I think it's also important to know that veterans that are 70% service connected can get their long-term care. It's not going to cost them a dime. It's not going to cost them to have to give up their house and all that other stuff that you have to do. Any inheritance. I mean, that can all stay. If you have a spouse that's living in the house and, all of a sudden somebody has to go into the nursing home and then everything is just completely lost, that is a huge benefit to the older aging veteran to know that if they are 70% service connected, that this is something that they can start to look into and have taken care of well before anything really has to transpire. So that's another great thing that Wilmington's doing, expanding those services. I know our director Vince Kane is adamant about hospice care. That's something he really wants to see for the future, and the community living centers.
Yeah, that was one of his big goals.
Big push.
And take a phone call here and see if we can get this to work.
Okay.
So go ahead and get us on. Welcome to Veterans Matter.
Hello.
Hello.
That was me.
Hello.
Hit answer there. There you go. Welcome to Veterans Matter.
You hear him?
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
I hung up.
Yeah,
We'll get this right.
Okay.
That was odd, though, that they
Why don't you give
came all the way down
let's give the
there.
number out again, Mike, just in case anyone else wants to call in.
609-798-4475.
And
Welcome to Veterans Matters. Are you with us?
Yeah.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hello. Go ahead. Pat and Jackie are listening. Hello?
Yes, Mike, this is Paul.
How you doing?
Good, good.
Go ahead and speak. You're on the air.
Yes, I was testing to see if your phone was working.
Oh, is this Paul
Okay.
Camp? It seems to be working, but nobody's speaking to us.
It's like the lights are on, but no one's home.
Right.
It is working.
It is working. Okay.
Very good. Thank you.
Maybe there's a delay in his.
Maybe.
Can you get other calls in?
Yep.
So I want to talk about.
Okay, because I'm not seeing them come up on the screen.
Okay, well, we're in the middle of the show, so
I think it's important to note that everybody has experiences.
go ahead and hang up, and I'm going to try my phone, see if it works going through.
Okay.
Everybody has different experiences. You have different experiences with your time at VA. You have different experiences with your time in civilian healthcare on the outside, and everybody experiences, honestly, a wait time. There are those times where, and I know from my own family, you have a diagnosis that, is kind of scary. You're going to jump in the car and you're going to try and find somebody else to give you another opinion. How wonderful is it if you're a veteran and you're eligible for your VA health care, not only utilizing your VA health care, because I know a lot of people are concerned about, well, I've had this doctor on the outside for 45 years. Well, that's great. It's an and both. It's not an either or. You can keep that doctor on the outside, and that's great. You have two opinions. You have your VA opinion. You have that other opinion. The most important thing about that is you have two opinions that if you're looking to file a claim for service connection, you have 2 points of information that are going to help you in that process. And we say this all the time. We tell veterans this all the time, and we can't say it enough. The one thing that VA does extremely well is care for a veteran. They care for the veteran, where civilian doctors on the outside care for everybody. With veterans come very specific needs.
And it's not that the doctors on the outside
It's
of
not.
VA care don't know what
not.
they're doing.
Not at all.
Yep.
Some of my best friends are doctors on the outside. But when it comes down to it, you're a Vietnam veteran and you've been exposed to Agent Orange and you have something going on. You don't know what it is. You may go to a civilian doctor. We always use dermatology. So, you got some kind of something going on your arm. You go to the civilian doctor. They see your arm. Yep, absolutely. Looks like it could possibly be skin cancer. We're going to treat that. Get you on your way. Awesome. VA doctor, have you ever been exposed to Agent Orange? They're going to look. They're going to see where your time in service was. This is something, too, that could be connected as service connected. So you do yourself a little bit of a disservice by not tracking that or following that. It's very important. So many veterans, especially, the older veterans now, are having things start. Their things are cropping up. They were great until, a few years ago, whatever. All of a sudden, a diagnosis of something. Well, that could be service connected from your time, that you spent in Vietnam or wherever it is that you were. It's very important to have the VA doctor check you out and see what's going on.
Even if you're seeing your doc once or twice a year at the VA, just checking in, having them do a physical, check you out. Everything has a gestation period. That's why it takes so long to get presumptive illnesses for Agent Orange, for the burn pits, for all these environmental exposures. It takes time because there is a gestation period
There is.
of the illnesses associated with them. And another reason you should just use the VA, or at least sign up for the VA. We want you to use it. We want you to enjoy your health care. We want you to
choose VA for your health care.
Exactly. And is the fact that supply and demand. The more veterans in your local area, wherever that may be, the more services that will come to that area, the more funds that need to be allocated to that area. If there's veterans that need help, the government will allocate the money There just needs to be the numbers to support it.
That's right, exactly. And with a new
It-
clinic now coming to Cape May County, it's ever more, important that our veterans come out and they enroll for VA healthcare. They may not feel that they need it right this second, but that's not to say that the veteran standing next to them, their brother in arms, doesn't. There may be a service that may not be available to them in a local clinic or in the CBOC or something, but there could be the potential for that to happen. But we need the numbers. We need the veterans to come out, and enrollment for VA healthcare is so darn easy.
Yes.
It's very easy. It's your DD-214 and filling out 2 papers. Done.
I'm going to get back to the enrollment there. I just wanted to give a shout out to all of our listeners here in the immediate area. I want you to know about an event that's going to be taking place on Sunday, November 4th. The American Legion Riders out of Post 352, located at Pennsylvania and First Avenue and Summers Point. It's going to be the 19th annual Ride for the Vets. There's 2 different parts of this. You can, if you ride a motorcycle and want to participate in the ride, that starts, the registration is 10 to 11:30 a.m. at Atlantic County Harley-Davidson, located on Route 30 in Galloway Township. And there's 4 different stops along the way where you pick up door prize tickets. The event at the post where your ride ends, it will be from 1 to 4 p.m. with great food catered by Fitzpatrick's Deli and Restaurant. Free draft beer, Chinese auction, door prizes, and live music. So come on out Sunday, November 4th, 1 to 4 p.m. at the American Legion at Summers Point. And if you get in touch with me before 6 p.m. on October 18th and want your business on the back of our T-shirt, you can for a sponsorship of $100. I just love this live stream because, I spent 2 years at Stockton and I was never allowed to mention money. I couldn't say at what it costs to get in someplace. This is just great. We're going to have a lot of fun down the road on here. And my producers tell me, Mike, you got a phone call, so we're going to try it again and see. Go ahead and answer that call. Welcome to Veterans Matter. Hello.
Hi, this is Paul.
Hey, Paul, can you hear us?
Pat, can you hear him?
I can hear Paul, yeah.
I can hear you just fine.
Hi,
Paul. How are you?
Speak up.
Good,
Go ahead.
good.
I think there's a delay in with the technology. That's why it seems like there's dead air, but there's not.
How couldn't you hear me?
Because you don't have a microphone.
I can hear you well, Mike.
You hear me good?
Yes.
Do you have any questions for our VA experts?
It's Paul. It's Paul, the gentleman
From Backbone?
Yes, he's trying to.
Correct.
Well, Paul, I have no problem receiving you, but I can't get through on my own cell phone. So just hang on there 1 second. I'm just going to
Yeah.
see if it goes through. And if it does, then it'll... Nope. When I call on
probably a
my
good
cell
time
phone,
to,
it's still busy.
Yeah, while you guys are working on that, Jackie and I, like we said before, we work for the Department of Veteran Affairs. We work for the Wilmington VA Medical Center. But Jackie and I live and work in Cape May, Atlantic, Cumberland counties here in southern New Jersey. If anyone needs help in any 3 of those counties, they can either call myself, Patrick Carney, at 302-358-9736.
Or they can call me, Jackie Hinker, at 302-304-5509.
I think it's also important to mention that there are work cell phones. So if you for whatever reason don't like phone calls or just want to text us, you can do that as well. We
Absolutely.
can get text, emails, everything for our phones. Even if you just want to video chat over it, you can do that too. That's absolutely fine.
Oh, look, our card
whatever
is
is
being...
easiest. I see that. Whatever is easiest for. I think you're too short there. Yeah, all I saw was the top of your fingers. Oh, there you go. Okay, there we go. Yeah, anything you need, we're here to help, and we'll do the best we can to not just give you a number and someone to call, but to actually know that if you have to call someone, someone's going to answer.
Absolutely. And hoping that down the road here we get the kinks out of the call-in. So important with this show. We want to make sure that if a veteran needs assistance, he can reach us. One of the things you can always get to me through veteransmatter@aol.com. If you have a severe emergency or you really need to speak to someone, you could always email me and I'll get it during the show. And the same with the phone number that Patrick gave you. If you call them numbers, you'll get them right away, and they'll definitely be able to take care of your need. And as I said earlier, if you want to be on the show, I feel fine for you to give me a email at veteransmatter@aol.com, and come on, tell your story. Some of the best shows that we've had here over the years have been off the cuff. People coming in, sitting down, and just talking about their service. And next thing you know, someone calls in and says, "Yo, I served with you, or I was in that same area." It's amazing some of the things that we've been able to convey during the years on the show.
And you know what? Interestingly enough, that phone call I just left for, obviously, we're working at the same time. That was Colonel Walter Null. He's Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, and he has been one of the best advocates for getting the information out to the soldiers that are going to be our veterans and to our veterans. We work very closely with Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. Colonel Null is always available. When we need him, or if he needs anything from us, we're going back and forth, because there's some great VSOs that work for Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, and we're fortunate enough to be able to partner with them as well. So shout out to Colonel Null, because I know he's watching right now.
Shout out to Alicia Kagan, Sherry Morris, Paul McIntyre, all of you guys that
everybody
help make our lives easier.
All right, we're going to try again. Welcome to Veterans Matter.
Hi, this is Paul.
Okay, put Paul on hold. Hey, Mike? Yes.
Go ahead. Welcome to Veterans Matter.
Yes.
I'm calling, I'd like to know if the VA Center, do they have a program to help parents while their sons and daughters are deployed?
The VA Center doesn't, but the Vet Center in Ventnor, which will soon be moving to A. Carver Township, does. The Vet Center will see the service member, the spouse, the kids, the family, even friends, whoever needs help and is connected to that service member can be seen and have someone to talk to at the Vet Center.
Whoever's important to the veteran is important to the Vet Center.
Just to answer your question, I didn't have any problem getting through on the phone line.
Yes.
Well, we appreciate that, sir.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your call.
You're welcome, Mike.
And
Thank you.
the phone number is 609-798-4475. You have a question for Pat or Jackie, feel free to give us a call. We're working out the kinks on this phone system. We've also got to work out the kinks with our producers.
It's the maiden voyage.
Exactly. Just hope it's not like the Titanic, right? When I start seeing water coming through the...
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a definite problem.
Yeah. So 609-798-4475. Phone lines are open, and at least we know now that the phone lines are working. So a lot of things going on in the area. I receive emails every single day. I want to get this.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next.
Okay.
Mike likes dead
Go
air,
ahead.
So
Mike likes dead air.
another
Dead air,
event. I know we
dead
said we were
air.
going to mention events. The everyone here remembers. Hopefully, in Southern New Jersey, remembers Lou Green.
There's a shout out for you.
Yeah,
Mr. Lou Green.
Yep. This month was Lou's last month over at Hamilton Mall. First Wednesday of each month was Lou's last day over there.
Lou was a font of information for a lot of veterans. So
Absolutely.
we appreciate everything that he's done in the past, and you know we talk to him a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
a good guy, and his
And,
wife. Let's not forget.
And I guess because of Lou's not there anymore. Anyway, Hamilton Mall then contacted myself, and we were able to work out that the outreach team is going to be there now every first Wednesday of the month, from here till whenever.
There's a
that
really
being
good
said,
backstory to that, though. Let's tell the truth.
that
See,
being
since
said,
we're just
though-
being people,
Well,
the
we gotta
reason
talk
he
about
got the
event
call.
first.
Yeah, but the reason he got the call was because they saw his mug in the newspaper, which it usually lands in the newspaper quite frequently, Mr. Pat Carney.
I don't know how that happens.
Yes.
But because of the beginning, we're going to be starting that on November 7th, which is the first Wednesday in November. Because of that, on November 9th, we'll be having a VA claims and healthcare clinic, or healthcare assistance clinic at the Hamilton Mall from 10 o'clock to 1400 or 2 o'clock for anyone who's non-military.
And this ball just started rolling. So the people that we're talking about being there don't even know that they're going to be there yet, but they're going to be there.
Yeah, we're hoping to have a whole rash of services there. New Jersey State DeMava, VSOs, VBA, VHA, enrollment, et cetera, et cetera.
And the vet center.
If you are having, if you want to start services with the VA on any of the parts of it, please come out and see us November 7th, 10 to 2 p.m., 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Hamilton Mall. We'll be right there in front of the carousel, right at the main entrance by Ruby Tuesdays. And
then on the 9th.
Yeah, or if you need help with current services you're having an issue and having trouble getting a hold of somebody, come on out to Hamilton Mall. And come and see us on November 7th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. right in front of the carousel.
You know, just to let our listeners know that our show today will be ending at 4:30 p.m. Okay. You know, Pat, I got an email from Russell Robinson today about an event that's being held. It's being held in Butler, PA. It's from the Veterans Consortium.
Yes.
Now, I would love to see something like this here, local, for free legal assistance for military discharge upgrades. We talked about this yesterday in reference to someone that's still active duty going through this. And we have a friend whose son went through, and I hope if they're listening, if you have anything other than an honorable discharge, and you want to meet with an attorney for free, there are things going on, and you can make an appointment. The phone number, if you have a pen and pencil and paper available to take this phone number down, it's area code 202-733-3324, or you can email them at upgrades@vetsprobono.org. And any number that you receive on this show or any email, you can, if you miss it, you can always email me at veteransmatter, it's one word together, veteransmatter@aol.com, and I'll make sure that you get the phone number or email. So we don't want you to miss anything. But, you know, this would be a great thing to have local.
Absolutely. And, you know, we have a Veterans Justice Outreach coordinator, John Walter, that we work with closely as well. We have been working closely with the prosecutors' offices in Atlantic, Cape May, and Cumberland counties with the diversion program, just to make sure that the veterans that do come through that program are connected with their services so that maybe, you know, these kind of situations don't happen for them again. So it's wonderful. But I think the one thing that we all have to bear in mind is that VA cannot do everything, right? So having different organizations to be able to draw from in a situation that maybe VA can't fill. We have to fill the loopholes. So there are very great organizations. The CVEB, the My VA community now is called the CVEB. That's one. So you're looking at different community partners and nonprofits that sit around. You've got Catholic Charities, Veterans Multi-Service Center, Red Cross. I'm Robin's Nest. I'm leaving probably a bunch of people out.
Dozens.
And I'm sorry if I'm leaving you out, but I don't mean to. They're great organizations. And so when we can't, if we have a veteran that approaches us, John Walter, for example, as well, if he has somebody that comes to him that's in a situation, a legal situation, he's going to help in any way that he can to help them find the services that they need to be productive so that they don't have any problems in the future. So you're looking at the whole health initiative. We're looking at the whole person here, but one entity cannot necessarily take care of every single thing that's going on with that one person. So it's a blessing to be able to have other people that sit around and are on the same mission that we're on, which is to assist veterans and make sure they're getting all the services and the things that they need, along with their families. So one of the new things recently too that we've been, well, it's not recently, that's not true. One of the big things I should say for the Wilmington VA Medical Center, and I'm only speaking for Wilmington because it's really the one that I know the best, but it's very important for the administration of the Wilmington VA Medical Center, and I think it happens through us a lot, but it happens with them. They are hand in hand with us. When there are events, when there are, things going on within our communities, it is not hard to believe that you see the face of our director, Vince Kane, that you see other faces, like the face of Cindy Murray from the Northfield VA clinic, that you see the face of some of the MSAs, particularly Mary Sikorsky or Bonus.
Yes.
These are people that you see that are coming out on their time. They want to come out. They don't mind putting in the extra time. We did a thing recently, it was a little bit further back. Great relationships with the colleges and the community college, and everybody around here wants to help with this same mission. But we had the mobile clinic, but we didn't have the staff for the mobile clinic. The regular staff wasn't available. So two wonderful, exceptional VA people jumped in and filled that. That would be Dr. Golden from the Cape May Clinic and Mary Wisman, the nurse navigator here from the Northfield Clinic. Mary has different titles that go along with her nursey part of her, but one title that she carries with her is veteran.
And Bronze Star recipient. And this is a woman, these are people that work a ton of hours in their regular day. But when it comes to the mission, if they got to go the extra mile or the extra hours, they put a smile on their face and they are happy to be where they are, to be involved and making sure that veterans are getting above and beyond. So we're very fortunate within the Wilmington VA Medical Center to have people that go far and beyond when it comes to our veterans. And I know this, I've been walking around the Wilmington VA Medical Center for a lot of years. You know this. Other VAs, multiple. But I honestly have to say, to watch our director walk the floor and shake the hands of veterans and make sure that they're getting the care that they need, and if there's anything that they can help him or he can help them with, to please let him know. That, to me, is just that push that everybody can understand. We are about the mission. Wilmington's doing things with technology. There's just so much going on. It could make your head explode, actually. And to talk about
There's
that,
a lot going on.
We don't spend a ton of time down in Wilmington.
We don't.
We spend a ton of time talking with people down there that work there,
right.
And coworkers and such. But one thing that really struck me as great, and I found out it was actually true, or it was a thing that does happen, I should say. Vince will tell people, if you're ever down in Wilmington, come up to the 7th floor and see me. And I'm like,
people don't think that's real, but it's true.
I've been in Wilmington since 2013 when I got out, and not once was I ever invited to the seventh floor before Vince was a director there. Every time before that, I never got invited, and it's just really a kudos to him and a kudos to how the VA is changing and how the VA has changed and how How it's more than just somewhere you're going to see your doctor. You know, you're going there to get help for what you need help with, and there's people there that know how to help you with all kinds of different issues you're having.
Can I play the devil's advocate here
Go
for
ahead.
a second? Because
Never.
there was at least one, and there's got to be many people out there or veterans who they keep mentioning the issue of if you happen to be at a VA clinic or at the VA hospital, I guess maybe even at the vet center, and you mention the word suicide, or that you want to kill yourself or something in those manner, that it's a horrible thing to do there because of the repercussions. Is there anything to that?
I don't know exactly what happens if you do that. I would think that whatever counselors you're seeing would know what to do if that occurred. I know I've heard nightmare stories about what has happened. I also know that I've lost way too many friends to suicide, where I would hope that one of them would have said something when they were at the VA, or even using the VA. Maybe if they said something, the VA would have done something to either, you know, if they are institutionalized, if they're whatever. I'd rather have my friend back, you know, and that's me speaking as the veteran, not as the VA employee. Where, yeah, for a vet, that'd be terrible. I couldn't imagine just being stuck in somewhere and not being able to go anywhere, and you just kind of have that stuck feeling. But I don't know exactly what their protocols are. But
for number one protocol is ask the question.
Well, right.
Are you thinking about harming yourself? If the answer is yes, then that person needs to be directed immediately to somebody who can help to care for them, a therapist or somebody. I mean, it depends on the gravity of the situation as well. I mean, if the clinician or the doctor or whatever feels that there is an imminent threat of someone harming themselves, then there is probably going to be a larger, influence involved, and maybe, VA police would have to be involved, or calling the local authorities. Now, I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm gonna violate HIPAA, and this is years ago, and it was well before I ever worked for the VA. But my cousin's husband had an attempted suicide, and I happened to be, with her as she's freaking out because he called and said what he was going to do and that he had already done part of it. And we had no idea where he was. No idea. So after we finally went back, found out he was in a hotel. We found out where the hotel was and immediately called the police and had the police go intervene. And if the police hadn't banged down that door that day, he wouldn't be with us, because he would have succeeded in what he attempted to do. So I think there's, as a civilian, that was the way we tackled it. Knowing what I know now and working for VA, there are steps to be followed, but the immediate, imminent situation is, if somebody is threatening that they're going to harm themselves, you have to get them help. They have to get help.
And the VA is going to do whatever they can to keep that veteran safe.
Safe,
keep that veteran
absolutely.
Alive. So if they feel like they need to call the police and have that veteran detained so he or she doesn't hurt themselves, then that's what they're going to do. The VA doesn't have the or even the doctors over there, they don't have the I don't know, the means or the drive to want to harm a veteran somehow or another.
No, not at all.
The direction is to help the veteran. Every I think everywhere has kind of a different operating procedure for when it happens.
And every situation's different. It's a case-by-case basis.
Exactly. The professionals at the VA, the counselors or whomever they're talking to, the veteran may be talking to when they present and say, I want to hurt myself, they would do what they
You stay with the
I can't
veteran
help.
and
Yeah,
get them the help
I mean, I
they
know
need.
these people now, especially like if I say Northfield, I know the people at Northfield. We've been there long enough.
Mm-hmm.
I know none of them would ever do anything to be detrimental to that veteran.
No.
It's going to be all in hopes of getting that veteran better and not have them want to harm themselves.
That isn't always how the veteran takes it, though.
No, it's
Right,
not.
it's not.
It's not. And
It's not.
I can't say as a veteran if I did it and I would take it any differently. I can't say I would see it differently, but knowing what I know now, I know that the people at Wilmington, at Northfield, and the other clinics have the best interests of the veterans in mind.
Yeah, I remember personally, maybe a month after Vet Rock, I've been going through some pretty serious problems myself, and I was in a bad place, and at the time, a good friend of mine who's a veteran heard that my doctor had said, "Mike, go over to the Atlantic City Medical Center and check yourself into the psych ward." Well, this friend said to me, "Don't ever do that." I don't know what happens when you do that, because I took his word for it, and things worked themselves out, thank God. But I can imagine when you're in that bad place, and you go to people who...
Look, we all have a level of distrust. We all have a level of not knowing the unknown, and trying to step in to a situation where our mind's not clear and we're not sure, and depression is a horrible thing, and anxiety is a horrible thing, and I can't begin to imagine what it's like for a veteran with post-traumatic stress disorder or TBI, and what happens with a veteran. But the fact of the matter is, there are people to help. We do want to help. I mean, we give our phone numbers out freely. Our suicide prevention coordinator, Matt Jacobs, we have his number as well. And that's not to say that, we don't immediately pick up the phone and call in a situation like that. We have the technology through our through VA Connect that if Pat and I are out, and a veteran comes up to us and they're in crisis and they don't know what to do, but they need to talk to somebody, we can link them up with a clinician immediately, right, or a behavioral health professional through the VA right on our laptop. I mean, there's ways to be able to connect veterans to this. We need them to reach out. And unfortunately, sometimes reaching out doesn't mean that you're reaching out to the right person. I mean, if you reach out to the wrong person, then you may be misinformed and you may call, and then it turns into a hassle. We always have the Veterans Crisis Hotline. There's always the Veterans Crisis Hotline. I tell everybody to program it into their phone. 1-800-273-8255. Press 1. You've got the Veterans Crisis Hotline.
What is the SAVE acronym? The VA Caregiver Support Group sent, there's actually a SAVE training video, which you can ask for. The VA launched this in collaboration with this group called Psych Armor Institute.
Yeah. The Psych Armor Institute is great for all kinds of neat things. People should check that out. There's a lot of cool courses that you can take on Psych Armor as well. And for caregivers, it's a wonderful thing because you need that support.
About caregivers, but
yeah. So let me just put this out there too. For anybody, who has a loved one that they think is dealing with any kind of issue with a behavioral health or mental health issue, it's always a good thing to educate yourself. Psych Armor is a good place to go and do that. The va.gov website, there's a lot of great educational benefits to the va.gov website for veterans and for their family members, where you can look things up. The National Institute of PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You need to educate yourself as well to know what it is that's going on with your loved one, so that you can be able to help. And you always have us to reach out to. Talk to us, call us, let us put you in the right direction. We don't want to see anybody lost or sad or dealing with something that we could help them with, and the VA can help them with.
I think, I know we have only about 1 minute left. I think it's important to mention, I know there are some people that had topics come up on the feed they wanted to talk about. Jackie and I will be creating our own show very soon here. And we want to talk about everything that everyone's talking about. We want to provide that information for everybody and get down to the nitty-gritty of what's going on with VA and veterans and everything like that. Today just didn't provide us the opportunity with the pilot show to delve too deep. But it will be addressed. I think it's an absolutely important thing.
Absolutely.
To get everyone's answers to their questions in a timely manner.
Call our numbers. Call us.
Yep.
If we didn't answer your question just now,
Call
call
us.
that
Yep.
number. Let us answer it for
Patrick
you.
Carney at 302-358-9736.
Jackie Hanker, 302-304-5509.
And if you miss any of the numbers or emails, you can always get me at veteransmatter@aol.com, and I'll get back to you. I want to thank our producers, Al Zetmeyer, Jared Vernier, and John Serbin for all their help. And we do have a lot of work to do. Make sure things are working properly for you, the listener. I thank you for tuning in to Veterans Matter Radio Show.